Good evening, everybody. My name is Seth Knopp, and I'm the artistic director of Soundings. This is actually the first concert of our 10th season, and it's been a wonderful 10 years of my life, one of the most beloved creative things that I do. The musicians that come here carry their experiences of playing for all of you with them when they leave, and they talk about it for years afterwards. And the people that make this series happen along with me have become very special members of my musical family. The reason for this is actually the audiences that have come to Soundings from the very beginning. Maybe some of you, I know that some of you were there at the very beginning when we did 3 concerts in a span of 24 hours. And from the very beginning, we had large audiences, the numbers of which are very nice, but the quality of the listening was really extraordinary. My feeling from the beginning is that audiences for Soundings were here because they wanted to hear things that they didn't know, or hear things that they knew said in new ways. They were here to experience, period. Jeremy Strick could not be with us this evening. He's on the other coast. Wait, we're not on a coast, are we? Just feels that way a little bit. He's in New York this evening. But I just wanted to say a word to you about Jeremy, who is just incomparable. And this series is actually his brainchild. The one gift that Jeremy has given to me and to all of us involved in Soundings is exemplified by one thing. He has never in 10 years talked about you. He has never talked about the Soundings audiences. And what this means to me is not a matter of trusting the audience. It's much deeper than that. It just is who Jeremy is, that he believes art, and in this case music, has the power to speak to each of us individually and also uniquely, and that we have the power to listen in a way that allows us to change in some ways, and in other ways allows us to fulfill the kind of humanness that we all carry inside of us. That is a gift that is very rare, I can tell you, because I'm used to hearing presenting organizations talk about their audiences in a way that treats them like children, This is so far from that experience and allows us to do what we do here. And I will have to thank Jeremy in person for these 10 years that he's given all of us. Thank all of you for being part of this. It's my pleasure to be here with you yet again. Thank you.
And so once again, my dear Johnny, my dear friend, and so once again you are fighting us all, and when I ask you why, you raise your sticks and cry, and I follow. Oh, my friend, how did you come to trade the fiddle for the drum? You say I have turned like the enemies you've earned, but I can remember all the good things you are, And so I ask you, please, can I help you find the peace and the star? Oh, my friend, what time is this to trade the handshake for the fist? And so once again, oh, America, my friend, and so once again you are fighting us all. And when we ask you why, you raise your sticks and cry, and we fall. Oh, my friend, how did you come to trade the fiddle for the drum? You say we have turned like the enemies you've earned, but we can remember all the good things you are. And so we ask you, please, can we help you find the peace and the star? Oh, my friend, we have all come to fear the beating of your drum.
Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure to be here in Dallas this evening. This is our first time here, and with this program, Songs of Refuge and Resistance, it feels especially resonant to be playing it this evening in particular, just a few blocks away. So thank you for choosing to be here when there are other draws in the city as well. As artists, we feel it as imperative to speak to the times we are living in today. And so we put together this body of music to both offer a call to action and some solace from the crazy times that we are living in. So we began by drawing from some of the great voices of the past. That was a piece by Joni Mitchell entitled The Fiddle and the Drum. And we're going to continue now with an original composition that I wrote, setting a poem by Agha Shahid Ali, who was a Kashmiri American poet who passed away far too soon. But this is a poem he wrote that speaks to being far away from your homeland and the experience of being an immigrant. So this is a piece called Land, taking text from a poem of the same title. Thank you.
Swear by the olive in the God-kissed land, there is no sugar in the promised land. Why must the bars turn neon now? I'm already drunk. The hour has come redeem the pledge. Clearly these men were just here only to destroy a mosque, now the dust of a prejudiced land. When will the doomsayers die, bitten with envy? Will the springtime return?
Thank you so much. Little program correction. That was a Woody Guthrie piece, but that was the Jolly Banker was the name of that song. I'm really just honored to be here tonight. I don't normally play with this group. I'm just subbing. I had plans tonight over at the American Airlines Theater, and then this brass group said that their guy got sick, so they needed to hire this other person, and so they called the local trombone player, and here I am. Some program I just walked into. Wow. We're going to continue now with a piece by a really excellent composer named Wayne Horvitz. The four of us Westerlies were born in Seattle, and three of us grew up together studying with this guy named Wayne. And his father was really active in the labor movement. So a lot of his pieces, the labor movement in the early 20th century. So a lot of his pieces deal with those themes. And this piece was a song cycle he wrote in a collaboration with his wife, a woman named Robin Holcomb, that deals with some events that took place in Everett, Washington. There was a labor uprising there that ended in a really bloody massacre that later became known as the Everett Massacre. And this piece is a multi-movement suite, but we're just going to take a couple of excerpted movements here. So you're sort of getting dropped into a narrative, so not all the lyrics will make sense without the context, but the music is beautiful and I think speaks for itself. So please enjoy I Hear a Song Beginning by Wayne Horvitz and Robin Holcomb.
We did not want to be invaded. not spoken, until the sheriff made illegal vocal congregation. And here we are gathered on the cliff above the harbor. The sheriff and his men populate the deck below. If a man cannot speak out, all that remains unspoken. He gets angry and then he gets angry and more. We did not want to be divided. I hear the ship arriving. I hear a song beginning. Here he come across the sound. Hear it come across the sound. We meet today in freedom's cause to raise our banners high. We'll join our hands in union strong to battle, win or die. Show my husband a woman who publicly desires to forbid the keeping of cows in the city. And he will show you a woman who drives a decorated horse, wears fine bloomers, and wears fine bloomers. Cries for Armenians while her own neighbors, cries for Armenians while her own neighbors are starving to death. When a woman committed suicide, when her husband could not feed her family, my husband reported that she was murdered by those who make it impossible for workers to earn a living. Men with clean shoes and new shirts who ignore financial obligation yet afford to keep convenient women on the side. My husband believes that the kingdom husband believes that the kingdom of heaven will never be, will never be, will never be established on this sand pit, on this sand pit, on this sand pit. More than only facts. He cites reason, roots. His soul is not so mean, dirty or small as some readers believe. His soul is not so mean, dirty or small as some readers believe, as some readers believe,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This next piece is a composition of mine, and I wrote this in response to the Pulse nightclub shooting a few years ago in Florida. Yeah, and it has barbecue in it, which I think y'all are familiar with. So there we go. This is called Another Holiday.
another holiday. It's barbecue and pie. The kids will run around, and I'll sit on the side. And the shopping is half off. Of course I'll help clean it up. Another holiday. It's gray and cold outside. I'm turning off the news. Wait, I'll sit on this side. I haven't told them yet. I promise that I will at another holiday, with barbecue and pie. We'll be a family there, and you'll be by my side. Our kids will run around our favorite recipes. I'm sure they'll understand that love is just the same when they will see your smile. They'll love you like their own. Every other holiday, they're asking how you are, and I say I don't know. And boy, it got so cold. There's football on TV. Their kids are all grown up. There's laughter all around and other recipes. But what is there to say when they don't understand?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was Tear the Fascists Down by Woody Guthrie. Hopefully they heard that over there, over at the American Airlines. We're going to continue now with a piece that Theo arranged. This is something called Look for the Union Label. Originally it was a sort of rallying cry for the International Ladies Garment Workers Union. And it was the winner of a competition, actually, as many of you probably know, that was aired on TV and just sort of became the rallying call for all unions. And it seems fitting to be playing it at a time like this when many of our rights are, at risk. So this is Look for the Union label by Malcolm Dodds, arranged by Theo. Thank you.
Sing along if you remember. It was kind of the, Cars for Kids commercial at the time. I think everybody heard it.
Look for the Union label when you are buying that coat, dress, or blouse. Remember somewhere our union sewing, our wages going to feed the kids, and run the house. We work hard, but who's complaining? Thanks to the ILG, we're paying our way. So always look for the Union label. It says we're able to make it in the USA. Way God's gonna trouble the water. Looks like the band that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Houses should not burn. Nobody should know about bombers. The night should be for sleeping. Living should not be punishment. Mothers shouldn't cry. Nobody should kill anyone. Everybody should build something. Then you can trust everybody. The youth should be able to achieve something. And so should the old. Bertolt Brecht.
Die Häuser sollen nicht brennen. Bombe sollt man nicht kennen. Die Nacht soll für den Schlaf sein. Leben sollt keine Straf sein. Die Mütter sollen nicht weinen, keiner sollt töten einen. Alle sollen was bauen, da kann man allen vertrauen. Die Jungen sollen's erreichen, die Alten desgleichen.
Thank you so much. That was Das Bitten der Kinder, a setting of a Bertolt Brecht poem by Paul Dessau, and that was preceded by, of course, Wade in the Water, which Theo arranged. We're going to continue now with a piece that I wrote that sort of explores the idea of having family members or loved ones with whom you have vehement political disagreements. And I think a lot of folks deal with this in their own families, and my family certainly does. So this is a piece that I wrote entitled Grandma.
Thank you. It's good to be here in Dallas. It's our first time here. Last year we played in Fort Worth. There's a reason that they put the Dallas before Fort Worth in the name, and we're glad to be here in this fine city. We're going to continue now with a piece that was written by a labor activist named Joe Hill. Anyone ever heard of Joe Hill out there? Yeah, he was a very important member of the IWW, the International Workers of the World, also known as the Wobblies. And he wrote a lot of music, but one of his jobs was to go around to labor camps in the American West and recruit people to join the Wobblies. And while he was out there doing that, there were also folks from the Salvation Army out there attempting to convert all these laborers to their religion. And one of the hymns they would sing was a hymn called In the Sweet By and By. But what Joe Hill did was he took that hymn and wrote a satirical version of it entitled The Preacher and the Slave. So this next piece is an arrangement of mine that sort of mashes up the original hymn and Joe Hill's version.
In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore.
Long-haired preachers come out every night, try to tell you what's wrong and what's right. But when asked about something to eat, they will answer with voices so sweet. You will eat by and by, in the glorious land, in the skyway, up high, work and pray. Live on hay, you'll get pie in the sky when you die. And the Starvation Army, they play, and they sing and they clap and they pray, till they get all your coin on the drum. Then they tell you when you're on the bum. You will eat by and by, in the glorious land, in the skyway, up high, work and pray. Live on hay, you'll get pie in the sky when you die. Holy rollers and jumpers come out, and they holler and jump and they shout. But when eating time comes round, they say, you will eat on that glorious day. You will eat by and by. In the glorious land in the sky, way up I work and pray. Live on hay, you get pie in the sky when you die. If you fight hard for children and wife, try to get something good in this life, you're a sinner and bad man, they say. When you die, you will sure go to hell. You will eat by and by. In the glorious land in the sky, way up high, work and pray. Live on hay, you get pie in the sky when you die. Working men of all countries unite. Together we'll stand and we'll fight. When the world and its wealth we have gained, to the grafters we'll sing this refrain. You will eat by and by. When you've learned how to cook and to fry, chop some wood, do ya good, and you'll eat in the sweet by and by.
Thank you so much. How about it for Willem de Cook for that arrangement? He got a mustache for tonight just for you all. It's a debut. First time. We're going to continue now with going back to original music. This is one that I wrote, and I just want to give a shout out because all this music came together when we were in residence up at Yellow Barn in New York. We're from New York, up at Yellow Barn in Putney, Vermont. As you know, because this is a Yellow Barn series, but we just want to extend our gratitude to Seth and to Catherine for giving a home for the creation of this music. So can we have a round of applause for Yellow Barn? And I wrote this piece when we were up there, and one of the greatest things about having a space like that is you have time, and you have time to think. And we had been talking about this idea of songs of resistance or songs of refuge and solace, but also dealing with original music, coming up with new repertoire that feels true to the moment that we're in. And three of us grew up in Seattle, and in Seattle, very close to home is the trauma of Japanese Americans who were interned in the Second World War. And I stumbled across a poem of Mitsuo Yamada, who was a great Japanese American poet who was interned. She's still alive now. She's 96 years old, and she lives in Seattle. And she wrote this beautiful poem called Looking Out that sort of deals with the context of what it actually means to be a minority, and how context is everything, and how silly some reactions of xenophobia and racism can be when just the context is flipped. So I was thinking about that poem and thinking about growing up in Seattle, and I think just part of having that trauma sort of in the soil is an understanding that things that bad can really happen, and have happened to people and affect generations after that. So you don't take things for granted, and also you sort of stay vigilant in your wokeness, so to speak. So this is a piece that came out of all that thinking. This is inspired by Mitsuo Yamada, entitled Looking Out.
the successful prosecution of the war requires every possible protection against espionage and against sabotage to national defense material, national defense premises, and national defense utilities as defined in Section 4, Act of April 20th, 1918, 14, Statute 533, as amended by the Act of November 30th, 1940, 54, Statute 1220, and the Act of August 21st, 1941, 55, Statute 655, U.S.C. Title 50, Section 104. I hereby authorize and direct the Secretary of War and the military commanders whom he may from time to time designate whenever he or any designated commander deems such action necessary or desirable to prescribe military areas in such places and of such extent as he or the appropriate military commander may determine, from which any or all persons may be excluded, and with respect to which the right of any person to enter, remain in, or leave shall be subject to whatever restriction the Secretary of War or the appropriate military commander may impose in his discretion. The Secretary of War is hereby authorized to provide for residents of any such area who are excluded therefrom such transportation, food, shelter, and other accommodations as may be necessary in the judgment of the Secretary of War or the said military commander, and until other arrangements are made to accomplish the purpose of this order.
crystal cry appeared while I was sleeping and called my name. And when they came down nearer, saying dying is done, then a new song was sung until somewhere we breathe as one, and still I hear their whisper. Stars bursting in the sky, hear the sad nova's dying cry, shimmering memory, come and hold me while you teach me how to fly. Lately sparkling hosts come fill my dreams, descending on fiery beams. I've seen them come clear down where our poor bodies lay. Soothe us gently and say, gonna wipe all my tears away, and still I hear their whisper. Love rising from the mist, promise me this and only this, holy breath touching me like a wind song, sweet communion of a kiss.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And as Andy said, when you have a choice of venues. Thank you. So that was called The Kiss by Judy Sill, a beautiful folk singer and songwriter who only made 2 records, and I recommend both of them. And we're going to close this set with a composition that was written for this during our Yellow Barn residency by a wonderful composer, Phil Klein, who I've been working with for many years. He actually said some of Donald Rumsfeld's poetry, his odd speeches about vases and all those weird sort of Dada statements to music. This one is based on Emma Gonzalez's speech, and this is called Thoughts and Prayers. Thank you again for being here.
and pray.